about loyalty, but you ain't ready to ride. Get your mind right, he coming like a thief in the night. Is you ready? Is you ready? You ain't really about it if you ain't prepared to die. Talking about loyalty, but you ain't ready to ride. Get your mind right, he coming like a thief in the night. Is you ready? Is you ready? You ain't really about it if you ain't prepared to die. Talking about loyalty, but you ain't ready to ride. Get your mind right, he coming like a thief in the night. Is you ready? Is you ready? Laughing at your idol gods, looking like some Digimons. Babylon won't carry on, this dragon getting mini bombs. You can call me Daniel, son, you know I serve the living God. Yours is made of brass.
Shalom, family. Shalom. Most High in Christ bless. Most High in Christ bless. And thank the Most High for us making it to another one of his holy Sabbaths. All praise to the Most High. Hey, definitely want to give a big shout out to our leadership, to our bishops, Bishop Nathaniel, Bishop Kanai, Bishop Yawasap, say to our captains, our deacons. We're very grateful because they have paved the way and given us the opportunity to be able to bring forth this truth to you guys. So definitely want to say shout out to them. So we're going to go ahead and jump right on into it because we don't have a lot of time. So the title of today's class is Amalek, War, Propaganda, and Entertainment. So unless you've been living under a rock, you see what's going on in the world right now. And so for a while now, the bishops and the leadership, they've been telling us, listen, y'all got to prepare because war is coming. Bishop was saying that it's so much going on in the world that it's time to really hone in and focus on what we are learning in these scriptures. So we're going to start off. Let's jump right into it. Bring up this very first article. So while we wait on IT, we're gonna let's read the first scripture. Go to Amos chapter 3 and verse 7.
Come on.
Y'all let me know when y'all get there. Go ahead and read.
Amos chapter 3, verse 7. Surely the Lord God will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets.
So the Bible says that God is not going to do anything until he reveals it to his prophets. And so like I was mentioning earlier, every single Saturday, the bishop is going into these scriptures and dissecting. Like you can literally turn on the TV and look in the Bible and see what's going on the TV and read about it in the Bible. Listen, we are in it. We are definitely in it right now. The wars and rumors of wars, we are in it, brothers and sisters. And right now is not the time for us to be faltering. It's not the time for us to be arguing and bickering one another. Right now is the time for us to lock in and get ourselves together because what you're seeing is birth pain after birth pain after birth pain. It wasn't that long ago that we saw Hamas attacking Israel. And then now we got this whole war with Iran. It's time for us to get it together, brothers and sisters, all right? So y'all ready for me? We good? Go ahead and read.
Trump says no more attacks will be made by Israel on South Pars gas field. President Trump said Wednesday on Truth Social that Israel would not attack Iran's South Pars gas field again, but added a warning that if Iran continues to attack Qatar's liquid natural gas facilities, the U.S. will destroy the Iranian gas field.
Read.
Mr. Trump wrote that the United States knew nothing about Israel's attack on the South Pars field and that Qatar was in no way, shape, or form involved with it. Mr. Trump said Iran then unjustifiably and unfairly struck Qatar's Ras Laffan gas facility in response.
So just in case you don't know, this Qatari Ras Laffan, this LNG facility, it in the Middle East, that particular facility, it controls the liquid natural gas for that entire region, but not just for that region, because we also rely on that as well too. As a matter of fact, drop that. Let's put up the next one. Let's see exactly what the liquid natural gas is, what it's used for, because it's important with what's going on right now. So I mentioned earlier how bishops have been saying, like, we got to prepare. And so what do you think is going to happen with them bombing this LNG facility? And then now we see what's going on with the gas prices, right? Read. Let's see what LNG actually is.
LNG 101, liquefied natural gas. LNG for short is natural gas, methane in liquid form.
All right, so what is it used for? Read.
The LNG we produced is shipped all over the world, turned back into natural gas, called regasification, and then transported via pipeline to homes and businesses, and used as an energy source that is essential for heating, cooking on stoves, and other industrial uses.
So the liquid natural gas is used for us to heat our homes. It's used for cooking. And so imagine with Iran destroying that facility, what is that going to do to the world's liquid natural gas? Where are we going to get this gas from? Because I know when Trump was running, he kept saying, drill, baby, drill. Like, I don't know if y'all remember that. But we're not drilling. All of the oil that we're getting is coming from these other places. And so now with this particular facility being bombed, what are we going to do about our natural gas? What do you do? Because I think gas right now it's the highest that it's ever been. What do you do? What do you do when you get that gas bill that's $400, $500, $600, $700 and you don't have the money to pay for it? Like, is there a plan in place? But see, these things they've been playing out all throughout I would say the several past couple of years. And what we need to do is not only pay attention, but again, as the leadership has been saying, that we have to prepare. Now it's time for us to start doing this. So now, the thing with America is America thrives on war. As a matter of fact, America has been at war since it's been a country. I don't even think that there's been a time of peace. And so when you look at it, and we're going to go through the scriptures to closely show how what we see on the news today, how it closely aligns to the scriptures. But before we do that, let's pick up the next video. Give me the TikTok video about America.
10, 20, 50, 100? Before you answer, here's what we're counting. Direct wars, so US sent troops. Proxy wars, so US funded one side of the conflict. Coups, so US overthrew government or kidnapped, like lately. And military interventions, bombing, invasions, drone strikes. Take a guess. Since 1945, the United States has carried out over 250 military interventions around the world. That's one every 3 months. But what about how many interventions since 1776? The entire existence of United States? Nearly 400. Which means the United States is not a peaceful nation that occasionally goes to war. It is a war machine that occasionally pauses.
That's crazy. It says that America is a war machine that occasionally pauses. They've been at war more than any other nation on the face of this earth. But why is that the case? Why is it that America is so, not even just America, but the Israelis are so hell-bent on war? Well, it goes all the way back to the time of Genesis. And we see how, let's just go to read it. Go to Genesis chapter 27. We're going to start at verse number 36. And let's see, we're going to find out, we're going to go throughout time from Genesis. We're going to bring it all the way back up to today to find out, is America actually in the Bible? And what does the Bible say about all this warmongering, right? Let's read.
Genesis chapter 27, verse 36.
Uh-huh.
And he said, is not he rightly named Jacob? For he had supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he hath taken away my blessing.
So now so if you're not familiar with it, this is when Esau is now getting his blessing. And so he says that Jacob has supplanted him 2 times, which is not true, because you read when you go to Genesis 25, he actually sold a birthright. So he's lying right here, but keep reading.
And he said, hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants. And with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father?
Read.
Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept.
All right, here's the point. Read.
And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth.
So it says that your dwelling places, where you dwell and where you live, is going to be in the best places of the earth. Read.
And of the dew of heaven from above.
Uh-huh.
And by thy sword shalt thou live.
So not only are you going to dwell in the fatness of the earth and as the dew of heaven, but the way that you're going to do it is by the sword. It says, and by the sword thou shalt live, meaning how you survive, how you eat, how you thrive as a nation is going to be 100% based upon violence and war. Read.
And shall serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck.
Uh-huh.
And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob.
So we just read that the blessing that Esau received was it was the gift of war. It says, by the sword, that's how he's going to live. But why is that important, and what does it have to do with the class? Well, let's find out who descends from Esau. Let's jump to Genesis chapter 36. Start at verse number 1. Read verse number 1.
Genesis chapter 36, verse 1. Now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom.
So these are the generations of Edom, who is Esau. We just read that Esau was given the gift of war. He's going to have to live, survive. Everything he does is going to be based upon the sword, right? Jump down to verse number 12.
And Timnah was concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son, and she bare to Eliphaz Amalek. These were the sons of Adah, Esau's wife.
So we read that Amalek descends from Esau. He is of that same lineage. Jump down to verse number 15. We're going to read verse 15 and 16.
Verse 15. These were the dukes of the sons of Esau, the sons of Eliphaz, the firstborn son of Esau, Duke Timon, Duke Omar, Duke Zepho, Duke Kenaz, Duke Korah, Duke Gatam, and Duke Amalek.
So not only was Amalek a descendant of Esau, but they were prestigious. These are the dukes, right? So the question is, if Esau's been given the gift of war, did this same gift of war travel or pass down to Amalek? Let's find out. Let's jump to Deuteronomy chapter 25. Let's see what Amalek did to Israel. Come on. Deuteronomy chapter 25, we're going to read start at verse 16.
Deuteronomy chapter 25, verse 16. For all that do such things, and all that do unrighteously, are an abomination unto the Lord thy God.
Read. Wait, so he's saying all that do unrighteousness are an abomination to God. And then watch the very next thing that he says. Read.
Remember what Amalek did unto thee by the way, when ye were come forth out of Egypt, how he met thee by the way, and smote the hindmost of thee, even all that were feeble behind thee, when thou wast faint and weary, and he feared not God.
So we read this is a form of cowardice, if you will, because it says that Esau smote the hinder part of us. So Israel is coming out of Egypt. As a matter of fact, let's hold your place right there. We're gonna come right back. Let's read about this account. It's in Exodus 17. 17. Let's see. Read verse 1, and then we're going to jump down to verse number 8.
Exodus chapter 17, verse 1. Come on. And all the congregation of the children of Israel journeyed from the wilderness of Sin after their journeys, according to the commandment of the Lord, and pitched in Rephidim, and there was no water for the people to drink. So
Israel's coming out of Egypt. They tired, they thirsty. Then what happens? Jump down to verse 8.
Verse 8. Then came Amalek and fought with Israel in Rephidim.
So we read in Deuteronomy how it says that Amalek they attacked the most hinder parts. In any structure, it's usually the women and children that's at the back, right? So why would Esau be cowardly, or excuse me, not Esau, but Amalek, why would they be cowardice and want to attack the women and children that's at the back? But let's jump down to verse number 13.
Verse 13. And Joshua discomfited Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. And the Lord...
Jump to verse 16.
Verse 16. For he said, because the Lord had sworn that the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation.
So Israel ends up winning, but verse 16 says, because of this, it says, the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation, which means that throughout the generations, there's going to be animosity. There's going to be hatred with Amalek, right? So we see this same warlike mentality, or the same mindset of hatred for the children of Israel. Now, it started with Esau, but it also gets passed down to Amalek. But we're going to prove it even farther. So now let's fast forward to the book of Samuel. Let's fast forward to the book of Samuel. 1 Samuel chapter 14. And we're going to start at verse number 47. No. 1 Samuel chapter 15, start at verse 1.
1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 1. Samuel also said unto
As a
Saul.
matter of fact, jump up to chapter 14 and verse 47, and then go to 15 and 1.
1 Samuel chapter 14, verse 47.
Read.
So Saul took the kingdom over Israel and fought against all his enemies on every side, against Moab, and against the children of Ammon, and against Edom, and against the kings of Zobah, and against the Philistines. And whithersoever he turned himself, he vexed them.
Jump 15 and 1.
1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 1. Samuel also said unto Saul, the Lord sent me to anoint thee to be king over his people, over Israel. Now therefore, hearken thou unto the voice of the words of the Lord.
So now he's about to receive instructions, right? Read.
Thus said the Lord of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way, when he came up from Egypt.
So we just read this in Exodus 17, how when Israel they're already tired from walking, and they were trying where they had to go, they had to pass through the land of Esau. But Esau wouldn't allow us to pass. And so we end up turning around, and then Amalek was the very first nation to attack us. And again, it said the hindermost part, which is the women and children. And so now when you fast forward to Samuel's time, because of that, when we read in verse 16, how he's going to have war from generation to generation, we now read the command that God has given for Amalek to completely be wiped out, right? Read verse 3.
Now go and smite Amalek, and utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass.
So the command was to completely destroy Amalek, get rid of everything, man, women, children, get rid of all of it, right? But is that what was done? Jump down to verse 7.
Verse 7, and Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah until thou comest to shore that is over against Egypt.
Read.
And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive.
So instead of him following the instructions to kill everybody and everything, he decided to keep Agag alive. Keep reading.
And utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword. But Saul and the people spared Agag, and the best of the sheep, and of the oxen, and of the fatlings, and the lambs, and all that was good, and would not utterly destroy them. But everything that was vile and refuse, that they destroyed utterly.
So did he follow the instructions? No, he didn't. He was told to get rid of everybody and everything, but he was disobedient and allowed King Agag of the Amalekites to stay alive. This ends up coming back to bite us later on in the Bible. Let's go to Esther chapter 3. So what we're doing is we're going and showing the relationship that Israel has had with Esau and Amalek, and all throughout history, how it's always been problems, always been back and forth, and they've always had this mindset and the mentality of war. And so we just came through Purim, but and I know leadership, they already went over the class, but let's read in the book of Esther, and let's see the relationship that happened between Israel and Amalek then. Start at chapter 3 and verse 1.
Esther chapter 3, verse 1. After these things did the king Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Hamadatha, the Agagite, and advanced him, and set his seat above all the princes that were with him.
Read it from the top again.
After these things did the king Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Hamadatha, the Agagite.
So we're reading now how Haman, who's the son of Hamadatha, he's called the Agagite. So like how we are the Israelite because we are of Israel, this Agagite is of King Agab, who was supposed to be destroyed. But since he was not destroyed, it fast forwarded to now we see Haman, who is of this same line, but it says he was promoted, right? Keep reading. Read verse 2.
And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him. But Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence.
So Haman was promoted to a position of authority. and he relished in that in the glory of him having that position. And so when Mordecai didn't bow, he had a problem with that, right? Jump down to verse number 5.
Verse 5. And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then was Haman full of wrath.
Jump down to verse 8.
Verse 8. And Haman said unto King Ahasuerus, there is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of thy kingdom, and their laws are diverse from all people. Neither keep they the king's laws. Therefore, it is not for the king's profit to suffer them.
Read.
If it please the king, let it be written that they may be destroyed. And I will pay 10,000 talents of silver to the hands of those that have the charge of the business, to bring it into the king's treasuries.
So we now see Amalek, Haman, in this case, he's risen to a position of authority, and he's using this authority and influence to do what? Want to commit genocide. Sounds familiar, right? Because we see that going on today. Haman gets this position, and the first thing he does, because Mordecai didn't want to bow to him, is he wants to destroy all of Israel. And so we know how the story goes, because we keep Purim. We know that he ended up being killed. So all praise to the Most High for that. But what we're establishing is that Esau and Amalek, they thrive off of violence. They thrive off of warmongering, thrive off of genocide, willing to use their power and influence to get whatever it is that they want. And not only that, they have hatred towards Israel. But this is not the only time. We're going to fast forward now. We're going to keep it moving. Let's go to Greece. When Greece comes in power, go to 2 Maccabees chapter 6 and read verse 6.
2 Maccabees chapter 6 and verse 6.
Uh-huh.
Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days.
And so now we're reading about Antiochus, right? Another Edomite. Read.
Or ancient feasts.
Uh-huh.
Or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. And
Jump down to verse 8.
Verse 8. Moreover, there went out a decree to the neighbor cities of the heathen by the suggestion of Ptolemy against the Jews, that they should observe the same fashions and be partakers of their sacrifices. And whoso would not conform themselves to the manner of the Gentiles should be put to death. Then might a man have seen the present misery.
So doesn't it sound familiar? We literally just read how Haman tried to do the exact same thing. He used his position of power and influence to want to get rid of all of Israel. Fast forward to the time of Greece, you got Antiochus doing the exact same thing. They get in power, and the first thing they want to do is go against Israel. The hatred, again, stemming from going all the way back to Genesis, that hatred carried on throughout time. And as time progresses, you start to see they become more and more violent and become a lot more cunning with the more power that they gain, right? So we're not done. Let's jump to Rome. Go to Luke chapter 21.
Luke chapter 21, verse 20. Come on. And when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh.
So we're talking about the destruction of Jerusalem. As a matter of fact, even before this, if you remember, I think it was Psalms 137, how when Babylon was in power and we were being removed from the land, what was Esau saying? Race it, even into the ground. They were celebrating our demise. So from Genesis all the way now to Rome, we see this animosity and this hatred with Esau. We spent hundreds of years in Egypt, and then our first encounter with them is animosity and hatred, and they want to fight and kill us. Keep reading.
Verse 21. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in this countries enter thereinto. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled.
Verse 24.
Verse 24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
So what we're reading about is the prophecy of the 70 AD with Titus and Vespasian destroying Jerusalem. And he's saying, listen, it's not going to be a good day. Every time there's a position of power and authority with Esau, they always want to use it to come against God's people. You got that. Now, why is that the case? What? Listen, we not bothering nobody. Even in Genesis, it says that we're plain man dwelling in tents. They the ones out hunting. They the ones out doing what they do. But this warmongering spirit, it carried on throughout time. So we just read about Rome, and then fast forward, you got I know a while back, Bishop mentioned about the conversos. That was during the time of the Dark Ages, which came right after Rome. Well, not right after Rome, but I would say it's like the 4th century to maybe like the 15th century. You have the period of the Dark Ages, and then towards the end of that, you have the Spanish Inquisition. So, the Spanish Inquisition was the spread of Catholicism throughout the world, but it was by force and by violence. And with the conversos, that was the Jews that was in Spain and Portugal. They were being expelled if they didn't want to convert to Catholicism. So you had to move. You had to get rid of. Hell, in some cases, they were being killed. And I think Bishop brings out that a lot in the book, Jews and Moors from Spain, if I'm not mistaken, is when it goes into that history. But so now, fast forward to, as a matter of fact, no, that was also an important time because around that same time, that was, I think it was the Alhambra decree, if I'm not mistaken. That was the edict that said, as a matter of fact, the same edict how we read here in Maccabees, how King Antiochus made a decree for it to be unlawful for us to keep the commandments. That Alhambra decree did the exact same thing for the Jews that was in Spain and Portugal. They had to be removed from that land. But coincidentally, in that same year, 1492, you had Columbus come to this side of the world to take Northern Kingdom into captivity. So just like it says, let's read that real quick, Jeremiah 50 and 33. So you have Northern Kingdom being oppressed by Columbus in 1492, and then you have the Alhambra decree where now we're being expelled from Spain and Portugal all in the same time. Read that, Jeremiah 50 and 33.
Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 33. Thus said the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together.
So go ahead.
And all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go.
Because and so it says that we are being oppressed together. So you got on one side of the world, Northern Kingdom being oppressed. On the other side of the world, the Southern Kingdom is being oppressed. Again, all from the hatred and warmongering and cowardice of Esau. And so again, even going farther throughout history, fast forward all the way now to the point of 1948. So put up that I think the guy's name is Theodore Herzl. Let's put that link up real quick. This guy, so the idea of Israel becoming a state, it didn't start with this guy, but he was the guy that really pushed the idea. I think it started around the 1700s with Napoleon, because he was having issues with the British and the Ottoman Empire, and so he threw around the idea of Jewish people having a state to cause some dissension between Britain and the Ottoman Empire. But this guy here, let's put it on screen. Let's read this.
Theodore Herzl, May 2nd, 1860, died July 3rd, 1904, was a Hungarian Jewish journalist and lawyer who was the father of modern political Zionism. Herzl formed the Zionist organization and promoted Jewish immigration to Palestine, which in the late 19th century was part of the Ottoman Empire, in an effort to form a Jewish state. Due to his Zionist work, he is known in Hebrew as Chozeh Hamindana, visionary of the state.
Yeah, just give it your best shot.
He is specifically mentioned in the Israeli Declaration of Independence and is officially referred to as the spiritual father of the Jewish state.
So what he did was he held the very first what they call a Zionist Congress with the idea of promoting the Jewish state. Now, you also had around this time, put up the book title, the one I had, The Rise and Kill First. So you have this idea of Israel becoming a state, but don't forget, through war, through whoremonger, right? By the sword you shall live. So it's not just because of the Balfour Declaration. There were a lot of different things that happened to lead up. No, it's the book. It's a book called Rise and Kill First. Did I send you that? I didn't send that to you? Look it up real quick. Go to Google, type in Rise and Kill First. So this book, it goes into a lot. So if you're into like spy movies and stuff like that, this book does a really good job of explaining. Hold on, I'm going to send it to you real quick. Let me send it to you. This book does a really good job of explaining how before Israel had become a state, how they had these coordinated attacks against a lot of Arab leaders to force the hand or to force the idea of Israel becoming a state. Like stuff like, have you ever seen that movie? I think it was called like The Law-Abiding Citizen, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was like Jamie Foxx and the other guy from 300. There was a scene in the movie where he was trying to get to this judge or get to these people that had a part in his conviction. And so he couldn't get to him. So what he did was he put a bomb in a cell phone. Well, stuff like that, you read about that in this book. Like there was this one Arab leader who was against Israel becoming a state. In some kind of way, they found out how to get poison in this man's toothpaste. What? So the idea of this cunningness and as a matter of fact, it laid the assassination attempt. That's how the Mossad ended up starting. And then later on, you get the idea from all this. So as Israel becomes this state, you start to see more and more of this military prominence developing from them. Were you able to get it? If not, it's fine because we don't have a lot of time. We could keep going. So no, it's fine. It's all good. I didn't send it to you, so that's fine. But if you're interested in it, check out this book. It has a lot of information in it. It goes into a lot of detail about the specific assassination attempts that the Israelis did before and after 1948. And so once Israel now becomes a state, well, as a matter of fact, before Israel becomes a state, another tool that they used was something called propaganda. So now put up the article about 6 million Jews. Come on. Because I'm sure we've all, if you ask anybody about the Holocaust and about how many Jews were killed, the famous number is going to be 6 million Jews, right? We've all heard that. But did you know that number, that 6 million Jew number, was propaganda? Because I think it might have been like maybe from the early 1900s up until 1948, you had this idea of, well, let's just read it. So this is an article, and in this article, or more so a PDF, but it lists specific references from different books, different newspaper articles, different writings of this idea of there being 6 million Jews that's being persecuted. So read the very first one. Now, remember, this says 1900. Israel didn't become a state until 1948. Come on. Right? Read.
206 million Jews, allegations from 1900 to 1945.
So there have been 200 times that the phrase 6 million Jews has been used prior to 1945. 1948. Read. We ain't gonna go through all of them. Just read a few of them.
1900, Stephen S. Wise, New York Times, June 11th, 1900. There are 6 million living, bleeding, suffering arguments in favor of Zionism.
Just scroll down. Let's just scroll down. Just pick another one.
1902, Samuel W. Goldstein, New York Times, November 27th, 1902. Plea for Zionism. In answer, I would say, does Dr. Silverman represent the 6 million Jews in Russia, 300,000 in Romania, and the 1 million in Galicia?
So if you read this PDF, like, again, these are all various different book titles, different publications, where this idea and concept of it being 6 million Jews that were oppressed were stated well before Israel becomes a state. And so now you have this idea, you've created the idea of the suffering, and then now you have the assassination attempt from various Arab leaders to now, and then you have this guy, this Theodore Herzl guy, who did the very first Zionist conference. You mix all of it together, and then you get 1948, how Israel comes into the land. So now put up that video about Israel first going into the land.
Shalom, Israel. This is Bishop Nathaniel. I want you to know that you can view all our Sabbath classes live on IUIC TV. That's right, I said on IUIC TV. Download the app today. Shalom.
All right.
Israel is one of the most controversial countries in the world, and also one of the most confusing. For the last 40 years, it has been involved in continuous regional conflict, sometimes more than one at a time. Yet throughout this period, it has managed to remain one of the richest and most prosperous nations in the world. In 2023, Israel's GDP per person stands at approximately $52,000, significantly higher than all other surrounding countries combined, and placing it in line with some of Europe's richest countries. But how can this be? Usually when a country is involved in conflict, their economy suffers. War brings destruction, drains resources, and stifles growth. However, in Israel's case, the opposite seems to be true.
Wait, pause. So you got to pay attention to what he's saying. So how is it that because war takes funding and it also depletes resources. So how is it that Israel is able to thrive during wartime? Go back just a little bit. Listen to what he said. Go back just maybe 5 seconds. Listen to what he says.
Conflict, their economy suffers. War brings destruction, drains resources.
War brings destruction, drains resources.
However, in Israel's case, the opposite seems to be true. Even as the conflict in Gaza has escalated, the Israeli stock market has gained 22% this year.
We're going to stop at 2 minutes and 9 seconds.
Record high. This is because, unlike many other countries, Israel is unique and possesses several advantages that other nations simply don't. The first and rather obvious one that comes to mind is support from the United States. Since the late 1960s, the United States has provided Israel with over $251 billion in military and economic assistance. Last year, this worked out to well over half of US aid annually. American influence at the United Nations often shields Israel from sanctions or resolutions that could cause tens of billions of dollars in economic damage. While Israel could defend itself without US support, it couldn't act in the same way without protection from sanctions. But US support is far from the only factor behind Israel's wealth. The country's economy has been designed to thrive under wartime conditions. Since its founding, the defense industry has been deeply integrated
you got to keep that in mind.
Economy.
So Israel is surrounded by its enemies, literally surrounded by its enemies, and it's not even that big of a territory. How is it that they're able to thrive during wartime when you're surrounded by all of your enemies? But you see, one of the easiest way, or one of the ways, is because of big brother America. Amalek knows that Esau got his back. And here's a problem, though. Here's another problem. The only reason why Amalek is able to do what he does is two reasons. One, because of the warmongering and the support of the United States of America. But the other part is because of Christianity. Christianity allows for this nonsense to go on because you support this nonsense, knowing good and well that those are not the people. And you rather argue with us than rather go through the scriptures and see for yourself. No, the only way that you can thrive during wartime is you have to be given the gift of war. That's the only way. You survive off of war. You thrive off of war. Your culture is about war. We saw earlier that America has been in war since it's been a country. So then now you fast forward, and then now you have Amalek in the midst of all their enemies thriving in war and got the boldness of attacking whomever they want to, whenever they want to, dragging America right on into it as well. Let's read Micah chapter 2. Let's get back to the Bible real quick. Let's read Micah chapter 2, verse 1 and number 2.
Let's go. Micah chapter 2, verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. And they covet fields.
They covet what?
They covet fields.
They covet our land, read.
And take them by violence.
By how?
By violence.
Read.
And houses, and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage.
They covet the fields, and they take it by violence. They oppress a man, his house, and his heritage. They took over that land by violence. I'm telling you, you should check out that book, Rise and Kills First. That book goes into a lot of detail about how they committed several assassination attempts to push the idea of Israel becoming a state. And like I say, Christianity and America allows for this nonsense to happen because they support the idea of them being the real Jews, knowing good and doggone well that you can't find nothing about them in this Bible of being related to God's chosen people. It ain't in there. So now Israel is in the land. Let's pull up the next video about Hollywood, because Israel is now in the land. They successfully got the land. So now you're in the land. How do you keep it? How do you keep yourself in this land? The only way that you can do it, especially if you know that you're not the real people, is you got to fool everybody into believing and thinking that you are the people. And so the way that you do that is you got to control the media. And we know from several classes that Bishop has shown who controls all of the media. But watch this. Let's read this article. The one about the history of Hollywood.
History of Hollywood.
Scroll down a little bit. That's where it says the influx of immigrants. Let's start there.
The influx of immigrants into the United States quickly forced this new workforce to find new business ways. The popularity of movies promptly gave birth to a new kind of movie entity, movie studios, established by ambitious men like Samuel Goldwyn, Carl Laemmle, William Fox, Louis B. Mayer, and the four Warner brothers, Harry,
Read.
Albert, Samuel, and Jack. Organized production of movies in Hollywood became standard.
So, but for time's sake, we're not going to go to each one of the names. But if you look up this Samuel Goldwyn, this Carl Laemmle, William Fox, Louis B. Mayer, and even the Warner brothers, I think their real name was like Warsaw or Warnall or something like that or whatever. Each one of these men who's listed are so-called, or not so-called, they are Jewish. They are Amalek. Every last one of these men. So if Amalek controls the media, and then he, as we just read in Micah, he oppresses a man and his heritage, then how is it that you keep our people down? You have to make us look like thugs. You have to give us the rap music. As a matter of fact, one of the biggest Jewish names in rap music is Leor Cohen. Come on. This man signs, the reason why we have the trash music that we do today is because he pays these young men to rap about that nonsense. Now, what benefit would it be for Amalek to push this idea of the trap and the drugs, and then even now you can't even watch TV now without it being some form of a sodomite scene. Let's say it that way. Every movie, every TV show, you can't even watch it. In some cases, they sneak up right on you. You think the show is good, and they sneak right up on you. But wait a minute, hold on, I wasn't prepared for that. It's because of the people that, as a matter of fact, and we don't have time for it, but these same Jewish people are the one that started your porn industry. As a matter of fact, put up the video for the arrivals. Put up the video for the arrivals. I'm going to show you what happens when Amalek controls the media. And this right here is for all of you sisters that just allow your children to just watch whatever and not pay attention. Understand that there is subliminal messaging going on in these cartoons. No, the arrivals. Yes, it's the YouTube link. There's subliminal messages that's going on in these cartoons. And the things that the kids are watching, this is not it. It's the arrivals, it's the YouTube link. All right, so while they look at that, let's read 2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 5. While they find that.
2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 5.
Hold on, give me 1 second. Let me get there. All right, go ahead and read.
Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of God. And bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ.
So it says, so when you start at verse 4, it says that the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, meaning we're not fighting a physical battle. This is a battle for your mind. And it says we have to cast down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, bringing into captivity every thought, which means that our mind has to be, like it says in Joshua 1 and 8, we have to be meditating on these scriptures day and night, because let's just be honest. Sin is pleasurable. Sin is pleasurable. But even though sin is pleasurable, is it the best thing? Is it what we should be occupied with? Is it what we should keep our mind on? Because the more we focus on the things that are not of God, the farther away we're going to stray, and the more indoctrinated you become. The more prone to sin that you become, it becomes easier and easier for you to sin over time, and you find yourself starting moving slower and slower away from God. Y'all got it? All right, let's play. Now, again, this is for you sisters. This is let me get what you call like a public service announcement or a warning. There are some graphic images, so if you don't want your children seeing certain images, it may, feel free to remove them from the room. But I want you guys to pay attention to how Amalek run media sends subliminal messages to your children. Go ahead and play. Now, Amalek is in power. They've done everything they could do to get into the land. Now they have to stay in the land. I'm gonna have you pause because I may have to read it because it's the words might be hard to see. Keep going. All right, pause. It says to create a sex sigil in a cartoon, the artist would use a technique in which he or she would start the artwork with drawing a sex symbol, then concealing it in the artwork, right? So it's a symbol inside of a symbol. I'll play. We're going to stop at 31:33. This activates a child's sexuality at a very early age. Now, before you finish playing, I think we can all agree that these children are growing up a whole lot faster than what we did. Children that are 9 and 10, 11, 12 years old are way more advanced and a lot farther progressed in life than how we used to be. But a lot of it is because of the access to seeing, the access to social media, this subliminal type messaging. So watch, let's go to play. Watch what it does.
The origins of psychological warfare were in Nazi Germany, and in the Nazi ideology, they had something that was called Weltanschauungskrieg, which means worldview warfare. The idea for them was imposing the Nazi worldview.
Do y'all understand what you're seeing right now?
The Americans picked up this idea, created an American version of it, and called that psychological warfare.
So he says that the Americans picked up the same technique and called it psychological warfare. Play. This is what the babies are watching. This is what the Amalek controlled media shows your children. This is crazy. And so when you're tired and don't feel like, dealing with the kids, you give them their iPad or their tablet, this is what they're exposed to. Now keep playing. We almost finished. This is what they see. And then this is what they create. How many of y'all remember this show?
Not the boss. Mario, you are not the boss. Kimbu, you are not the boss. You are not.
She got 3-4 guys up there. You turn it off now. 3-4 guys up there, and none of them is the father. It comes from what you feed into your soul. If all you ingest is sin and nonsense, then guess what's going to come out? Sin and nonsense. That's why I've quoted. Let's read Joshua 1:8 real quick, and we'll come back to 2 Corinthians.
Joshua chapter 1 verse 8. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth.
Meaning we need to always be meditating on these scriptures. Read.
But thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein.
Read.
For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success.
2 Corinthians 2:11. So we have to be constantly focused on the commandments, because I remember the very first time I had logged on to TikTok. I'll never forget it, because when I logged on for the very first time, all you saw was just women shaking their behind. I was okay. Well, I can't watch this. This is too much, because if you're gonna keep feeding yourself you're going to keep feeding that to your spirit, what you're doing is wearing yourself down, and you're allowing yourself to like it even more and even more. And it goes from just being a thought in your head to now I have to act it out now, because I can't just maintain it in my mind anymore. I got to act it out. And then that's how you find yourself in these situations to where you think that you might be stronger than what you are, but you're not, because the scriptures tell you that, let's get it real quick. I think it's in Matthew. I don't want to misquote it. Read Matthew 26:41.
Matthew chapter 26, verse 41. Watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak.
So it says that your spirit, it might be willing, but your flesh is weak. You're not as strong as you think that you are. Satan has been around for a long time doing the exact same thing that he's been doing since the book of Genesis. And it's still working because how many times have the bishops and leadership have to go over backdoor marriage classes and fornication and all this stuff in the body? We got to get ourselves together, and it could very partly be because of the media that you're consuming. Understand that the man that controls, or the people that controls this media, don't have your best interest at heart. That's why we get shows like, I think it's like the Baddies or the Real Housewives, everything that makes our society look like the refuse of the world. That's what we get. Our music is celebrated around the world, but we the only one calling each other B's and H's and dancing to it. Sisters is literally dancing to it, celebrating this nonsense and this foolishness of the man who is systematically trying his best to undermine us every single chance he get. But now he has the power, the influence, and the authority to do it, right? So now he's in the land. He's controlling the media. The very next thing to do now is to control the politics. So now let's bring up AIPAC. I know Bishop has talked about AIPAC several times. As a matter of fact, before you bring up AIPAC, before you do that, do the TikTok video about them buying the seats in Congress. Now watch this. This is our Congress today. Play.
There are 474 members in the White House, and of that 474, there's 155 Jewish members. So that means there's 33% of Jewish members in the White House, but only 2% of Jewish people in America. So how do you think something like that could happen? Here's an idea.
I was offered $20 million to withdraw from the senatorial race and run against my friend Rashida Tlaib. The pro-Israel lobby will go to any length to remove anybody from the U.S. Congress that has any opposition to their agenda and their total, unequivocal support for Israel, good, bad, or indifferent.
So now put up the YouTube video. So now we see, again, going back to even when we read about Haman, we read about Antiochus. Esau, Amalek, gets into a position of authority, and they use it to do their best to destroy our people. Haman did it. We just went through all these different scriptures, and then now, as a matter of fact, play this. Watch what they do.
We've heard a few times now politicians mention Cori Bush and Jamal Bowman seemingly getting pushed out of office by AIPAC. Here's what Cori and Jamal had to say on the matter.
I got a message from someone in the community. AIPAC said to tell you that they know you're not going to change your stance. They just want you to be silent.
They are very strategic and very unapologetic.
Now let's break this down by highlighting Jamal's story. During his 2020 term, he was critical of Israel, calling what they were doing in Gaza a genocide and being one of the first politicians to demand a ceasefire. So when he ran for re-election in 2024, AIPAC-related PACs spent a record-setting $14 million to fund a challenger to unseat him. For comparison, his 2020 opponent spent under $2 million, meaning that AIPAC poured more than 8 times that amount to defeat him in 2024. It was the same story with Cori Bush when she also called the war in Gaza a genocide. An AIPAC ally spent $8 million against her, and she lost. So it seems AIPAC has real power to force out politicians they don't like. And when it appears to be lose your job or listen to AIPAC, allegedly, it's easy to see why politicians fall in line.
So if you're not familiar with who, you should be by now familiar with who AIPAC is, but they are a lobbying group in the government, and what they do, they fund politicians. And the only reason why you would want to fund politicians would very simply be to control the agenda, to control that particular member of Congress, to get whatever results that you're looking for, which is why you see a lot of America's interest is with Amalek in Israel. Anytime Israel's going to war, he always has America's back. Like how we saw in the other video, a part of the reason why Israel is able to thrive in wartime is because of America. So AIPAC is responsible. Let me see. As a matter of fact, put that up and let's scroll down. It says AIPAC is the largest pro-Israel PAC in America. It says we support 361. Go to read that.
We supported 361 pro-Israel Democratic and Republican candidates in 2024, with more than 53 million in direct support through AIPAC.
Scroll down. Let's see some of their faces. You have the other link. for APOC? While they look for that, let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 12, read verse 13 and 14. You can get rid of all of that.
Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13. Come on. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil.
So the scripture says that God is going to bring all these things into judgment, whether it be good or whether it be evil. And so what we're seeing is Esau and Amalek, through their violence, through their warmongering, causing so much destruction upon the world. And like I mentioned early in the class, when I say like we're literally in it right now. Like we can go in the Bible, we can read about Iran, we can read about the missiles, we can read about this war, and understand that we're literally living in biblical times right now. And so again, now is not the time for us to be faltering. Now is not the time for us to be wavering. If anything, it's time for us to lock in, stay focused on these commandments. Pull up I think the last video is going to be the one, the banned weapons. Do you have that one? While we wait on them, let's go to 2 Ezra chapter 16.
They were.
Yeah, that video is going to start at 20 seconds. 2 Ezra 16, start at verse 30. We're going to read 36 through 38.
2 Ezra chapter 16, verse 36. Behold the word of the Lord, receive it. Believe not the gods of whom the Lord spake. Behold, the plagues draw nigh, and are not slack. As when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, within 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains, when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment.
Read.
Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side.
So we're literally seeing this. Every time we're seeing these various different wars, and I'm telling you, we just got out of war with Hamas, and now they're already fighting Iran. These are the birth pains that we learn about every single Saturday. And it may be 1 week, it may be 2 years, it may be 2 months. But as time goes on, they're going to intensify, and they're going to get shorter and shorter and shorter. Watch this. Y'all got it? All right, play. We're going to go to 1 minute and 20 seconds. This is some of the evil that America does. That says the U.S., they want to ban cluster weapon. What a cluster weapon is, it's like a missile that shoots out like a variety of different little heads, if you will. And then they're supposed to randomly blow up. But the problem is that, one, that they're not accurate, and they kill a lot of civilians. So America, they want it banned, right? Play.
The U.S. Department of War has quietly signed a $210 million contract to purchase a new generation of cluster artillery shells from an Israeli state-owned arms manufacturer. A move that marks one of Washington's largest recent commitments to a controversial class of weapons long linked to civilian harm. The agreement, finalized in September 2025 and not previously reported, will see the Pentagon pay Israel's government-owned firm, Tomer, to produce a new 155mm cluster munition over 3 years. Federal contracting records show it is the largest known U.S. weapons purchase from an Israeli company in nearly 2 decades, reversing the usual direction of arms transfers between the two allies.
So now let's go to Jeremiah 51. We've got to wrap it up. Read verse 12. So the reason we showed that is because how we read in Ecclesiastes, God is going to judge everything, the evil, the good, even those secret things. You have America, they want these cluster bombs to be banned, but just purchase $210 million contract from Israeli to produce more cluster bombs. Like again, it's the warmongering spirit that they have. And it's the whole reason why they're thriving and surviving off of war, right? Read that real quick.
Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 12. Set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. Make the watch strong. Set up the watchmen. Prepare the ambushes.
Read.
For the Lord hath both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon.
Read.
O thou that dwellest upon many waters, abundant in treasures, thine end is come.
Oh, that thou that dwellest upon many waters. Again, we've seen the video. Do y'all have that photo? America has bases all over the world, but nobody else has a base on America. On American soil. It says that they dwell upon many waters, but then it says, thy end is come, and the measure of thy covetousness. So the idea of war is going to fall on their own head, because the world is going to turn on America, American Israel, Esau, and Amalek. Jump to let's read the last verse. Go to Jeremiah 49 verse 10.
Jeremiah chapter 49, verse 10. But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places.
So how we read how God is going to show us the end from the beginning. No, we didn't read that, did we? We didn't read that. Well, in Isaiah says that God is going to show the end from the beginning. So we see even in the beginning times how Esau was so prone to war. And then now he says that he's going to make Esau bare. He's going to uncover or basically expose Esau for who he really is. Social media has been helpful because without it, we wouldn't be able to see what's going on across the world. And I think that's what makes these wars a lot more different, because now, instead of us hearing about the wars after the fact, you have people that are filming these things live, and we're able to witness it and see what's actually going on in the world. And so now when it says that Esau is being bare, it's exposing for who he is and what he is. Keep reading.
And he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren, and his neighbors, and he is not.
Last verse, 1 Thessalonians 5 and 2. Last verse.
First Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 2. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night.
Right, we're familiar with this verse, right? Read.
For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child.
Like the birth pains, read.
And they shall not escape.
But here's the part, read.
But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that the day should overtake you as a thief.
So the Bible says that no man knows the day or hour that Christ is going to come back. But it also says that they should not sneak up on us. If you're watching and paying attention, you're being occupied in prophecies, Christ coming back should not sneak up on you, because you're going to be familiar with the birth pains. You're going to be watching. You're going to be praying. You're going to be fasting. You're going to be getting your spirit right. You're not going to be arguing with your wife. You're not going to be arguing with your husband. You ain't going to be occupied in sin. You ain't going to have the Bible in one hand and have porn in the other hand. It don't work that way. That day should not sneak up on us. We got to be steadfast. We got to stay rooted in these scriptures. We got to come together, Israel, and we got to listen. We got to do what we have to do to make sure we make it to the kingdom. All right, so that's my time. Most High Christ bless, man. I pray that you all enjoy your Sabbath. Next cup, fix your face. Shalom.
Across the earth, the prophets move. From city streets to distant lands, the message is the same. Israel must rise. Through every quest, every journey, the truth spreads. No border can contain it. No distance can silence it. Our nation lives in every moment. In joy, we celebrate marriages. In sorrow, we honor our dead. On the Sabbath, we gather as one. Families rejoicing together, bound by the commandments of God. Yet are we tried. From the stones in Kenya to the hatred in Montana, we endure as a soldier of the Lord. And still, the mission expands. On the airwaves, on the screens, in every nation under heaven, Israel's voice is heard. We build our communities. We raise our children in royalty. We restore what was broken. We clean what was defiled. We show the world who we are. This is Israel united in Christ. Nation in motion. Nation endures.